Awesome. Thank you, Michelle. Can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. So, hello, everyone. My name is Joaquin Pastrana, as most of you know, and I was placed with Yolo County Resource Conservation District and Yolo County FireSafe COUNCIL for the past year. And this presentation is pretty much just going to be an overview of everything I did in my year in Yolo because there was so much that I had the opportunity to do. And it was really an incredible time. So, starting off with a little bit of background information about me, like Michelle said, I originally got a degree in public health from UC Merced, and I'm originally from Roseville, California, which, if any of you know Roseville, it's a concrete suburb right outside Sacramento. So, I have never been experienced or introduced to the world of conservation work or ecology or even prescribed burning. So, this was all brand new to me when I came into this work. I did have a little bit of outdoor experience. As you can see, that's a photo of me riding one of our horses, Cheddar, at a farm sanctuary that I used to work at as a ranch hand. And then I also did have I was interested in environmental health from a public health perspective, but never really delved deep into the ecology and conservation side of it. And then some brief introduction to Yolo County and what it is, if any of you don't know. It's located in the Sacramento Valley in greater Sacramento area. Its county seat is Woodland, and it has a population of just over 216,000 people. Its primary ecotypes are chaparral, blue oak, woodland, and mainly agriculture. That's mainly what consists of Yolo County's ecotypes. And some brief fire history is that the western edge of Yolo County has burned several times over the last 100 years. You can see that in the map that I provided right here. This is the western edge of Yolo County, and this is all the fires that have occurred recently, and with the LNU complex fire being the largest one in the last 100 years. Uh, as well, we also have a ranch called Audubon Bobcat Ranch inside Yolo County that has one of the greatest, or it does have the greatest fire return interval in the entire state. So going into what I did with the RCD itself, originally when I got on to this position, I was originally here to do social media and outreach primarily. But I think once we started getting working and doing that, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to write captions and do that good of a job in social media when I didn't really know what I was talking about in regards to conservation and the kind of work we were doing. So they decided to put me into the field. And I think that was one of the greatest things that they did because once they did that, I just continually requested to keep doing the field work to eventually I just was able to do mostly what I was interested in, which was field work and kind of put the social media and outreach on the back burner. So what I primarily focused on was habitat restoration, SLEWS, which is the Student Landowner Education and Watershed Stewardship Program, and then invasive weed control. And you can see in these photos, the habitat restoration is a photo of a hedgerow that we planted, which is something that we do pretty frequently. And then the invasive weed control photo is of a farm that we are out doing arundo eradication on. And the SLEWS photo is of a student doing a hedgerow planting. So starting off with habitat restoration, what I mainly did was native plant plantings, which we focused mainly around hedgerows. We did this in all kinds of places all throughout Yolo County. One of the most common places that I would be at, though, was the Yolo County Bypass Wildlife Area, which originally was meant to be a place for animals to escape during floodplains or during floods. And we were trying to bring that habitat back so that we could get animals back in that area. So I do a lot of hedgerow plantings. We do bunch grass plantings outside ponds in Yolo County to prevent erosion. And we'd also do large seedings in parks, which was pretty fun because you got to use a big belly seeder and you would just shoot the seeds everywhere all over the ground. And it's pretty satisfying to see. I would also do plant surveys, which was going through the hedgerows usually and checking for mortality rates and seeing what plants survived and what plants didn't, as well as checking to see if there was any kind of insect or pest disturbance within those hedgerows, so we can check and see if we maybe need to come back and next time we do a plant in this area, maybe add maybe some gopher baskets, something like that to prevent that happening again, as well as to determine whether or not we needed to come back and irrigate. which is something that I will talk about for the native plant maintenance. I also did HQT monitoring, which was really cool, which is habitat quantification monitoring, where we went out to hedgerows that we planted and looked for specific plants that could attract monarch butterflies and other pet pollinators, which is something that I've never thought about doing before, and it was a really cool experience to be a part of. And like I said before, native plant maintenance, we were doing a lot of irrigation. We usually bring pumps out to our hedgerows and connect them to our irrigation line and run water through them whenever we determine that it's necessary when they're looking pretty dry. We'd also do a lot of weed whacking and mowing around the hedgerows to give them space to grow and flourish, as well as keep away weeds or other plants that might be causing competition for them. The other main project that I was a part of was SLEWS, which I said before stands for the Student Landowner Education and Watershed Stewardship Program. I was a mentor for several SLEWS events, and these are events where we take kids from specific classes such as agricultural programs and AP environmental classes and chemistry classes. We take them out to farms, and they get to hear from the farmers and landowners about what they do and what their kind of work looks like. And they get to actually partake in some outdoor work and planting hedgerows and learning about all their benefits and stuff like that. And it's a really great time to be a part of. And so I got to be a mentor where I led 3 or 4 kids. Specifically, they were part of my group, and I got to talk to them and learn about what they were interested in and help them decide careers for their future if they were interested in this line of work. And it was incredibly cool just to see how knowledgeable these kids were. Like, they came out and onto the farm already identifying all the invasive weeds and all the plants, and they already knew pretty much everything that we were talking about. So it was really cool to see that there is still such an interest in this line of work from younger students, and that they know what they're talking about. The final part for the RCD that I want to focus on is invasive weed control. So this is one of the more common things that I did as well. One of the common ways that we would do it was early detection, rapid response, and this would be a plethora of things. We would be hand picking, weed whacking, hedge trimming, mowing. You can see in these photos we have hedge trimmers, saws, weed whackers, everything. There were times where we would be walking through the marsh just looking for yellow star iris, just so we could hand pick the seeds off the tops of them so that they wouldn't resprout. You can see that we're putting invasive blackberry in the back of our truck out at the Delta, trying to touch it as little as possible, using tools instead of our hands because of how painful it is. And then you can see one of my coworkers, Kenya, cutting down jubata grass with a weed whacker. If we weren't doing those kinds of techniques, then we were usually herbicide spraying, which, if any of you are interested in getting your firefighter type 2, I highly recommend preparing for the pack test by doing some herbicide spraying, because there is no better workout than being in warm weather in a thick cotton overalls with a backpack full of herbicide on your back. Highly recommend it if you want to get in shape. So that was a lot of cool stuff to see. And we also got to be in a lot of cool areas doing this kind of stuff. So I remember one time when we got to go out to the Cape Valley up in the mountains, and it was just so cool to be in that area doing this stuff. So moving on to the FireSafe Council, I got to do a much more focus much more on outreach and coordination when I was working with this program. One of the main programs, the 2 programs that I focused on for this organization was the Chipper program and the Reflective Address Sign program. The Chipper program was a program that we created, which was intended to provide residents in the high fire zones of our county a free way to dispose of the dead woody vegetation that's in their 100-foot defensible space zones on their property, in order to reduce wildfire risk. We also created a reflective address sign program where we go out and give reflective address signs that are highly visible and will last a long time to residents throughout the county, so that they can have a address sign visible to first responders and for firefighters in times of emergencies. So with the Chipper program, what I did was I pretty much did all kinds of research. I contacted so many RCDs, so many local fire safe councils, so many fire departments, just learning how they operate their chippers, who operates them, how much it costs to start up, how much their yearly cost is, all that kind of stuff. I also talk to them about logistics, how they operate it. Do they wait until enough interest is gathered in one area and then they go out and do a whole bunch at once, or if they just go out one at a time as soon as people request it. Uh, all kinds of information from the local and outside RCDs and fire safe councils. And when I got all that information, I was able to compile it into a spreadsheet for us to write the grant proposal, which is really cool. And we were able to get the funding for it and create the program. And it's been up and running for about a month and a half now. It's had a lot of success, which is really cool. And then with the reflective address sign, almost the same as the chipper program, just constantly contacting local or other RCDs and other fire safe councils, talking to the CAL FIRE battalion chief from Napa County, figuring out what guidelines and recommendations they have for these address signs, because there are actual code regulations. Whether or not they be enforced, there are code regulations for this kind of stuff. So I got all that information from the local CAL FIRE battalion chiefs and gathered it and put it into a spreadsheet for our Fire Safe Council to use. And we've been using both of these information that I gathered for the chipper program as well as the information that I gathered for the address site program and putting them into educational infographics to educate the county of Yolo, as you can see in these photos right here. So the next steps for the Yolo RCD and Fire Safe Council is hopefully we just got funded for a Yolo County PBA, which is really exciting. And you can see in this photo, this is a photo of all of the PBAs currently in development in the state. When I first got to Yolo County, we were just a grayed out area with nothing there, but now we are in orange, which shows that our PBA is in formation, which is really cool to see the progress over the last 11 months that I've been here. Uh, we'll also have a CWPP coming out, which is a Community Wildfire Protection Plan to help create programs to reduce the wildfire hazard within our county, as well as we'll be having our own Fire Safe Council website coming out, which will be hopefully a hub for residents of Yolo County to be able to see the fire danger and active fires in the area and learn about home hardening and defensible space and the programs that we offer. So moving past my work with the RCD and the Fire Safe Council, I wanted to go into external trainings and opportunities because this was a pretty significant part of my time here as a GrizzlyCorps fellow. Because, as I said before, I had no experience in this line of work whatsoever. So I spent a great amount of time doing trainings and outdoor opportunities to learn more about this kind of work and learn more about what I was interested in. Uh, I think if I actually counted the amount of time I was doing trainings, it would have bypassed 340 hours for GrizzlyCorps very quickly. Some certifications that I was able to get while I was here was my basic wildland firefighter type 2, which I'm really excited about. That has been a huge step up for me and has been something that I've been talking about since I first got here, and it has opened up so many new opportunities for me just having that certificate. So that's a really big accomplishment for me, as well as my wildland fire assessment program certificate, so that we can go out and teach this course to our local residents and actually perform home assessments on their houses in the county so that we can give them suggestions on how to reduce their wildfire risk and reduce the possibility of their house catching on fire in the time of a wildfire. And then we'll also be creating our own program for this, and we'll be giving it to our Fire Safe Council. I also got a basic first aid and safety course, which is awesome. And then I also got my recreational off-highway vehicle safety certificate. So on this slide, I originally did have just a long line of wording with all of the trainings I did, but I realized that looked really bad. So I decided to just go with some photos because there was just way too many trainings to fit onto one single slide. But I was so fortunate to be able to partake in some prescribed burns because once I found out about this kind of stuff, I was hooked and just wanted to do it all the time. And I was so fortunate to have some great mentors, as you can see in this photo right here. Cordy Craig from the Yuba Bear Burn Cooperative was so willing to just let me experience what I wanted to experience. And she was like, if you want to light the fire, you can go ahead and light the fire, even though it was my first ever time being on a prescribed burn, which is really cool. So it was awesome to get that experience firsthand. I also was fortunate to meet a arborist in Nevada City who has given me the opportunity to work for him and do fuel management work. You can see the lower photo. I'm getting some chainsaw experience, which I'm really interested in and excited about. And there's so many trainings that I was a part of. I attended a California native plant training, rare plant training. I was in so many prescribed burn workshops. I attended the Plumas County treks. I'm currently in the UC A&R Forest Stewardship course. I've taken several CAL FIRE secret courses. I attended the CERCAL, which is the California Society for Ecological Restoration Convention. I attended the Cal IPSI Symposium. I also went to a fuels management reduction training in Blodgett Research Forest, which was really cool because I had the opportunity to meet Rob York, who's the director of the forest program in UC Berkeley. So next steps for me, I am very happy to say that I'm going to be staying on for a second year with GrizzlyCorps and with the Yolo County RCD and Yolo County FireSafe COUNCIL, where I'm going to be primarily focusing on developing the PBA as well as improving our current wildfire mitigation practices, the CHIPPR program and the reflective address sign program, as well as hopefully developing new ones. And then focusing a lot more of my time as a SLEWS mentor because it was so great to be able to work with those kids. I was also very fortunate to earn a fellowship or earn a position in Audubon Canyon Ranch's Fire Forward Fellowship, which is going to be going through all the prereqs and certifications necessary in order for me to get my state certified burn boss certificate, which is pretty crazy to be saying out loud, being that I just heard about this prescribed burning maybe 11 months ago. And my capstone project for that is going to be finding my own burn site, gathering all the permits, conducting all the prep work, and actually leading my own prescribed burn. So I'll be hopefully doing that at the end of 2023 sometime. And then beyond that, hopefully going back to grad school, I have Oregon State and UC Berkeley up because they are the two master programs on the West Coast that are the Society of American Foresters certified. And I hope to go back for my master's in forestry and pursue my registered professional forester certificate. And then just honestly, above all that, just continue to learn. I've been slowly building my field guide collection, which is really cool. Slowly just continuing working on my plant identification, meeting new people, going to workshops. That's never going to stop. I'm just going to keep continuing to do that because it's so much fun. And then just I wanted to finish this off with a huge thank you to everyone in this program, both at the RCD and at GrizzlyCorps. You can see some photos. This is after we successfully got the rest of our field crew their Firefighter 2 certificate and they finished the pack test. And then these are some photos of just Seek and iNaturalist have become my best friend over this last year. And this is not even a quarter of the photos that I have from Seek. So these are just all some of the cool plants that I was able to see over the last year. And basically all my camera roll now is trees and plants. And it's been so great getting to learn so much from the field crew and being so supported by Tanya and Heather at the Yolo RCD and them giving me the freedom to pursue exactly what I wanted to do and always supporting me. And Michelle and Eliza always giving me that support as well. And just the other GrizzlyCorps fellows. It's been so awesome meeting everyone and getting to hang out so much. And I definitely think I have made some lifelong connections. Thank you.
You're going to make us cry, Joaquin, but thank you so much for a lovely presentation. I love the collage here of the flowers at the end. And if anyone has any comments, congrats, questions, feel free to plug them into the chat, or if you are so inclined to unmute and share, you're welcome to do that as well.
Go Joaquin, woo!
I just have to say, one of Joaquin's goals was to become better at public speaking. And he was kind of nervous about it at first. And now he does, as you can see, he's an amazing presenter. We've had him do tons of research and presentations for our FireSafe Council and our board of directors. He does great graphics, has this wonderful speaking style, and he basically succeeds at whatever he sets his mind to. So it's been wonderful working with them. And the best part is we don't have to say goodbye because we have him for next year. And I also understand that he'll be doing a lot of mentoring for first year Grizzly Corps. And that's great. So they're lucky too. So we're all very lucky to be able to work together.
Thank you, Tanya.
Thank you.
Nice
Thank you.
job, Joaquin. You've really been able to bring our wildfire program into action as well. So I'm talking about you, and I talked to other, RCDs and other groups who haven't gone into hosting a Grizzly Corps member before, and just how much that you've been able to do for our district, and then also inspiring our staff to continue their training. So it's been a huge inspiration for our team, and all your ability to look and see what's going on. And so it's really lifted up the work that we're doing. So way to go.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Joaquin, and to the folks at Yolo for supporting and for being a part of this program. We also have Grace, a Grizzly Corps alum from Yolo as well. And we are so thankful to have the continuity here. Hi, Grace. And yeah, as Lee said, shout out to Joaquin, biggest Grizzly Corps glow up superlative. And awesome. Thank you again.